In 1969, Seiko introduced the Astron. No, you didn't accidentally click on a Seiko video, but that watch was marketed as being 100 times more accurate than its Swiss rivals. And with this one move, the quartz watch set into motion a series of events that would lead to the eventual destruction of nearly 70% of the Swiss watch industry. Now, AP and Patek were just two names that were able to pivot and innovate, and that's a big reason why they stand atop of the watch world today. Hey guys, I'm Max and this is Watch Crunch, a growing community of humble watch lovers who could frankly care less about how much your watch is worth. So recently I got the chance to spend a couple of weeks with the discontinued and perhaps most hyped watch of our time, the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711. A GRAIL watch for many collectors, but I've also learned that GRAIL watch means many things to many people. So through the lens of the Nautilus, let's look at 4 definitions I've been able to come up with the help of fellow watch crunchers for exactly what a GRAIL watch is.
Which one is it? You must choose. But choose wisely.
So some feel that there has to be an element of unobtainability to a GRAIL watch, that it's more about the pining after, the fantasizing that tickles us. And the 5711 certainly has a timeless quality about it. Not many things designed in the 70s still look good half of a century later. And unlike bell-bottoms or tie-dyed shirts, the Nautilus seems to have never really gone out of style. Designed by a young Gerald Genta, the Nautilus is said to have been sketched out on a napkin in a fit of creative genius, the case resembling the portholes on the side of a transatlantic ship, and the ears on either side of the case originally modeled after hinges that allowed the whole movement to come out of the front. For Genta, the Nautilus was a follow-up to the AP Royal Oak, and it looks like an evolution of that octagonal design. Whereas the Royal Oak feels industrial and raw, the Nautilus, with its rounded corners, has a bit more finesse. This is a watch that single-handedly saved Patek as a company in the 70s, allowed it to remain independent. Now, unfortunately, due to its popularity today, unless your name is Ed Sheeran, you're probably not going to get a call from the boutique anytime soon. The rumor is that the waitlist is over 10 years long. So I guess in that way, this qualifies as a GRAIL based on scarcity. So we can't talk about the Nautilus without talking about prices. This watch retails at around, I think, $25,000. And even though that's a pretty silly amount of money, I think objectively it is worth the asking price if you compare it to its competitors. But unfortunately, at the height of speculation in early 2022, this watch was going for like $200K. At that point, it might as well have just been a hyped digital ape wearing human clothing. But luckily, now prices have come down to still an eye-watering $120K at the time of this video. And you might say it's a good time to buy this watch. If I sold my whole collection, maybe dug up quarters from my couch and all of my friends' couch cushions, I might be able to pull it off. And you can make the case that the Nautilus is a perfect one-watch collection. I mean, is it a sports watch? Is it a dress watch? Well, the sportier case kind of gives way to a more formal looking dial, and that dial is gorgeous, featuring horizontally embossed ridges with a surface that has a cold steely blue sunburst finish, and that finish transitions from a lighter sort of silvery blue to almost black towards the edge of the dial. I mean, take that in for a second. That's 4 different finishes going on one dial. But the other dial elements are rather simple. We have applied batons for hour markers and stick hands. And it's all extremely simple but balanced. And this way, I think this watch walks that fine line. Like, it can be worn with a suit, whether that suit is made by Armani or Billabong. But we get back to the original question, which is, would I sell my entire collection for this one watch? And I think I would still miss wearing my other watches. Like, does the Nautilus give me 20 times the joy of my Speedmaster or 50 times of my Yunhans? No way.
There's only one way to find out.
So let's say you're fortunate enough not to have to sacrifice your whole collection or mortgage your house or sell a kidney to get the 5711. What happens when you finally get your Nautilus? Well, one more thing that you're sure to appreciate is this stellar bracelet. So the pair of Genta watches from AP and Patek popularized the integrated format for bracelets, and manufacturers, you can see even today, are still copying this look. Now, on the one hand, it's pretty bold to think that your bracelet is so good that people will give up the option of swapping straps for it. But what you get in return with the 5711 is a seamless transition from the case to the band, as if they were fashioned out of a single unit. And the bracelet features brushed H-links with polished center sections. It tapers from 26 to 17 millimeters, and the two ends come together with a butterfly clasp that utilizes ceramic bearings and a small fold over. At just over 2 millimeters thick, the bracelet is supremely comfortable and can be worn all day without much hassle. But what happens the next morning when you roll over and look at your GRAIL watch sitting on your nightstand? Well, when I asked the folks on Watch Crunch, many people felt that a GRAIL watch loses its meaning when you finally acquire it. And some people think that once you get the GRAIL, it ceases to be a GRAIL. At that point, your mind sort of moves on to the next watch. So maybe a GRAIL watch's meaning should come from what it represents. Maybe you had to save up for a decade, or it's that watch that signifies some life achievement and the blood, sweat, and tears that went into the occasion.
You have chosen wisely.
Now, for some people, especially those who have been in the game for a long time, I've heard the sentiment that it might be time to move on. You know, find another hobby, like collecting moist towelettes or something. So you're tired of keeping up with the latest releases or latest watch trends, and you want that one watch that you can just grab and go and not think about how to match it with your outfit or occasion. Well, the 5711 can certainly fulfill versatile duty because, again, it mixes sport and dress so well. The case is only 8.5 millimeters thick, and that's thinner than a lot of dedicated dress watches, making the Nautilus highly wrist-friendly. And the amazing thing is what Patek was able to pack inside such a small space. And you can see this on the backside through a display window. We suddenly trade industrial design for high-end watchmaking. So in this 2017 model, we have the in-house caliber 324. And though the specs are rather normal with a 28,800 beat rate and 45 hours of power reserve, it's the finishing that impresses. You're first greeted with a solid gold rotor bearing that Calatrava cross, behind which there's a flurry of Côte de Genève, meticulously beveled bridges, and as you zoom in, things stay extremely well executed, even at the highest magnification. But we haven't addressed the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, we live in a time of rampant watch theft, and we've all seen the news headlines of robberies for watches in broad daylight. I really hope none of you guys have experienced this in person. Let me know in the comments if this happens in your city a lot. But if wearing your watch makes you suspicious of anyone who looks at your wrist, or if your favorite watch makes you nervous and puts your safety at risk, is it really worth the hassle? So in my opinion, it makes total sense that the Nautilus is a GRAIL watch for a lot of people because it qualifies in every sense of the word. It's got the illustrious history and the highest horology craftsmanship to back it up. It's an extremely practical watch as well, with a combination of sporty and dressy to potentially be your only watch. But luckily, after spending some time with it, I'm almost relieved that I didn't fall head over heels for it. And it certainly didn't change how I feel about my other watches. And that makes me wonder if a GRAIL watch is a real thing. I mean, I, for one, think that we should treat watch collecting as a journey without a specific destination. And experiencing watches are like milestones on that journey, whether that's a Seiko or a Patek. But what do you think? What's your definition of a GRAIL watch? Let me know on watchcrunch.com, and I'll put a link to the discussion in the pinned comments below. As always, stay crunchy. I'll see you in the next one.